Hello, is it audible to everyone? I'm sure it is more like understanding how it has been working out. I'm not doing it alone, to be honest. Hello, is it audible to everyone? I'm sure it is more like understanding how it has been working out. I'm not doing it alone, to be honest. Hello, is it audible to everyone? I'm sure it is more like understanding how it has been working out. I'm not doing it alone, to be honest.
These are one of the biggest plants we have at home.
Hello.
Hi, Sri. Are you able to listen to me?
How are you? Can you hear me? Your camera is somewhere in different location. Can you please check the camera for?
Yeah, correct.
All right. How are you? Are you all right?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Is it audible? Voice is audible?
Audible. It is audible. I can hear you very well. Everything is good. So I'm just
Yeah.
waiting.
We will wait for some more time
So,
so that we can start in few minutes.
I'm just keeping people on waiting room. They're waiting in the waiting room. I believe it is more like keeping on the bay. So once everyone joins, we can actually allow them by 6 o'clock. Okay?
Yeah, correct. Because I think they have started entering the room, Sri.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm allowing everybody by 6 p.m. today. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
I
No
can,
problem.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, we can.
So I,
I will start the. You open up the thing and start the intro. Huh?
yeah, sure. We can give the introduction and then we can proceed the review session.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure. Okay, thank you.
I'll get back to you within 2 minutes.
Sure,
Okay?
sure, sure, sure.
ஆஹா. சரி 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 பாப்பா, ஓகே. சரி பாரு, யூடியூப்ல லைவ் ஓடுது. நான் உனக்கு லிங்க் அனுப்பிச்சிடவா?
Hello, good evening to everyone. Let's wait for 5 more minutes and then we can start it. Okay. I hope everybody can hear me. Can you hear me? Are you audible?
Yes.
Yes, yes, it is. It is.
Okay, fine. Just wait for 5 more minutes and then we can start it. Okay. Yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody can hear me. Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So I think Vasanthi ma'am will introduce our third review session. I'm very much looking forward. Vasanthi, please do.
Hi everyone. I welcome you all for this MVP review session today. Thank you for submitting your images for the review. Quickly, I would like to start the session by stating up a question here. Let's make this session more interactive and kind of a blissful way of a learning process. Let's go through a kind of a learning process where everyone who have submitted these images get involved in this review session. Okay. My question is, by looking at the photographed images, can one's mood change? Come up with your thoughts. This is connected to what we are doing today. So please be open, come forward, have your submission on this. Again, I'll repeat my question. By looking at the images, the photographed images, can one's mood change?
Okay. Hi to everyone. I hope everybody is doing good. Thank you everyone for coming over for third review session. I believe it is going to be more like interaction, as I think the ma'am said about like we are going to keep
Yes.
them interactive. I think in
Yes,
the
I've
topic.
started with the question. Sri, I have started with the question. They're going to answer to me. Based on that, I'll move it. Okay. Okay, I think, is anyone coming up with one answer for that question?
Okay.
You want me to repeat the question again?
Hello everyone, can you please
Okay.
answer?
See, by looking at the images, definitely anyone's who's photographing, the mood changes. Yes, actually it is, yes, because basically it's not the image that is making you happy or energized. It's the memories that you have with the picture. Because of that, you just living in that memories for a moment, and yes, that does drastically changes your mood, which implies in creating your own photographs. When you start creating your own photographs with a bit of self evaluation, you're evaluating yourself. If you could see the kind of a shift from a photographer to an evaluator, you can go through that process quickly if you can do that. Okay, how often do you all look back at your old photos? I'm sure if that is not a habit for you, maybe it's a time to start doing it more often. You can learn a lot by evaluating the images that you already taken, no matter if they were taken ages ago or a year, last year or so. I think it can work for everyone, regardless of how long you've been into photography. I think that everyone should look back at their work and learn from it. Start by identifying the subject of your image and reason why you took that photo at that moment and what made you to think about it, what you wanted to say through that photo. If that photo doesn't have a clear subject, or a story, consider changing the next one. uh, this is what photography is, very subjective, like any form of a creative expression. And I believe there is no real right or wrong way to express yourself. Let's move on to the review session. Thank you, Sri. Let's move on to the review session.
Okay, fine. I want to say thank you everyone for joining today's TV session. And I want to keep the session is very interactive. I don't want to keep it like one-way communication. So I want to everybody to come forward and talk about it. It is more like an open platform to discuss about everyone ideas and thoughts. I feel it is very important to be having discussion with everyone. So I want to keep it very interactive. That is very important part of review session, I believe. So I want to, we can actually keep this interactive session to be learning instead of as a review session. It is not like you have to do this and all. It is more like a suggestion and improvement, and also you can also share your point whenever we have interaction. I believe that is very important. Okay. So I believe the most important aspect of the review session is learning. Learning is very important here. So we are keeping this as a learning session instead of review. Okay. So we don't want to keep it like a critic and all. Here I'm going to share participants' images. I believe we have shortlisted 10, around 9 participants those who have submitted for this review session here. So I'm going to share the screen of this one. Okay. Okay, do not worry about that. My pet is barking here. Okay. So I believe everybody can see the screen right now. Can anybody see the screen? Is it visible?
Yes, we can. Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, good. So we can start with some random name today. So I'm going to keep them in different name now, date modified. So I'm going to start with Gayatri today. Okay.
Whose image is this? Whose image is this?
Which is what happened? Are you able to see the screen right now?
Yeah. Whose image is this?
Okay, fine. So I'm going to share the pictures of Gayatri. I opened it. Hello, Gayatri. Can you please come forward?
Yeah. Hi. Hello. Am I audible? Hello.
Gayatri submitted the image very late, I think. I've not got the image.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry for that.
No problem.
This
one... I haven't got the image. Okay, sure. No problem.
Yeah. So this image is really precious to me because this was the first photo walk I participated with the MPB, Madras Photo Bloggers, and this was the very first portrait photography I took while doing street photography. And this lady was unsure whether she was photogenic or not. I said, I'll take the photo. If you don't like it, I'll delete it right away, I said. And so she gladly posed for me, and this was the result. The lady was really happy when she got the frame. I had taken a printout of it and framed it and given to her. And she and her husband were really happy about it.
Okay. So, Vasanti, ma'am, what you suggest for this one? Do you have any?
Gayatri, it's because it's your very first photo walk and you have tried the portrait. I would say that it is not all that a very bad photo. It's a good photo. In fact, being your first photo, I think you have tried your level best to make it a perfect, happy portrait. But still, you could have asked that lady to move towards her right so that there is a white background behind her, which will not distract the background. It's kind of there are so many the trolleys that's a bit kept on the right, and her head is, there is some placards that is distracting her above her head. These things could have been avoided and you take the portraits. Be very careful when you shoot your backgrounds, especially when you shoot your portraits, because that might be a greatest distracting elements when you shoot the portraits. But as such, the mood, the ambience, the lady a happy face is really good, and I think it is a best photo for being taken, a first photo in your very first walk, Gayatri.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Gayatri, I believe it is. I know it is not very. I think you connected with the people. That is very important. I'm happy that you have made a progress in connecting with our local people. That is the first step that you have done. I believe that it's first step. I believe it's very important to connect with the people. Number one. Number two. When you want to take pictures, when you want to have a proper photo, you have to plan better. That is very important. I believe you lack in planning. Maybe like you have to plan, like example, how can we actually have a good background, including better without any distraction and all that. That is very important. So I think you have to include better background by asking the person to move to somewhere near better background or somewhere where exactly you'll be able to get a good frame. That is my opinion. Apart from this, you are making progress. I'm so happy that you are coming out of comfort zone and connecting with the people, and she laughing at you, which is very important. Thank you for sharing this beautiful picture.
Thank you.
I appreciate your effort. I'm
Yes.
going to next shot now. Okay. Can you please tell me more about that picture?
This was taken in a private property which was near the beach. So the this side of the property was fully no, all kinds of plants were taken. I wanted to capture the tall coconut groves along with the reflection of it. So I tried a little on this, and yeah.
This picture, Gayatri, was, I'm sure that this was clicked in the midday morning.
Yes,
Um,
yes, ma'am.
and I find that you have slightly edited the sky on the background.
Very
Uh,
little bit, ma'am. Not
yeah,
much.
you,
Very little.
that is the natural blue sky should be on the right hand side, but you have edited to be on all sides on the upper foreground.
Okay.
It's because the white side is in the middle, because which is a very natural way of having the reflection through the camera without any editing. But this blue can be, the blue tinge is adjusted through the Lightroom, but as such it's a beautiful landscape photograph with the reflection. And you have closely the ratios, I mean the crop ratio can be little bit, you have taken a little bit of a foot behind, and you could have covered the entire tree that's on the reflection side, which is
Yes,
just three-fourths is covered.
yes,
It
ma'am.
would have created a great dramatic way of the reflection 100%.
Yes,
Otherwise it's a good landscape, and it carries a lot of story. Where there is a hut, there is a paddy field. It's a kind of mood creating image all together. You work on the little bit of your white balance settings, I think that
yes,
this
ma'am.
would be even more a better image.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Vatanti, for sharing your input. I have a different opinion, but before that, I want to ask other participants to share your ideas. How can we make this picture better? Maybe come forward to talk about how can this picture be better. Anybody apart from Gayatri, and then I do have a lot of landscape photographers, Ramana, Silva, and Manu. We do have a lot of people, Srinivasan. They're all like beautiful. They do have a lot of landscape images. I want to come forward to talk about like how can this picture be better? Can somebody give an input? Anybody? Hi, Ramana, please come forward. I know, Ramana, you are from Coimbatore. I know you are frequently participating in. I want to share your
Hi,
thoughts.
sir.
Yeah, tell me. What do you think about this one? How can we make it something better? It's a simple fact would help the participant to make it better. What's your suggestion? What's your idea? Can you give me some suggestion?
Just a little more breathing space near that hut or something, something a building like there. Some space from the left side, sir.
Okay.
That would be better. I feel that would be better, sir.
Yeah.
I agree that, totally I agree that.
Maybe the frame should be expanded.
Landscape would make it better one, that is one thing. And the second point is maybe like, if the camera is placed a little lower, just above the ground level, if you keep the camera just above the ground level, it makes the perspective better. That's what I
Yeah.
feel about it. So guys, so I'm sure you will work on the perspective to
Sure.
make it better. Okay?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. Sure.
Yeah, okay. And we are going to next image now. What happened to that image? It's been tilted here. Yeah,
Oh,
tell me
yes.
more about it.
When I was sending it, okay, it got a little tilted. I'm very sorry. This is a very old picture from 2016. It's taken
Okay.
in. I'm very sorry for sending an old picture. This is
Was it taken in
Goa.
auto mode?
Yes, ma'am. This was taken using a mobile camera, ma'am, Motorola.
I
It was
mean,
taken
auto
in
mode or
Goa while I was
okay,
on a boat. When I was in a boat in Goa. This
okay.
is actually a
No,
Portuguese
yeah,
prison.
camera is basically auto mode. That's what. Camera
Yes.
on a completely auto mode. This was not manually set settings, so that's the
No,
reason I
it was
asked.
taken on a mobile, and this is actually a Portuguese prison. This seems to be in Goa.
Okay. What's your suggestion, Vasanti? Do you have any thought about?
Again, there is a horizon shift is not right because there is a slight tilt on the right hand side where
Yes.
the I think you were moving. Was it taken on the moving boat?
Yes, ma'am. It was taken on a moving boat.
But still, you could have corrected it on the Lightroom, the horizon. You could have done it. You could have set right in the editing feature of this one. This particular one can be corrected. When you give the images for submission, make sure that it has the
Yes,
right
sure,
horizon level corrections with the right balance of elements.
Sure.
And this one is basically it's. I mean, as you said, it's a Portuguese building. If you could add a kind of a human element to the whole picture, it's basically a landscape picture. I understand. Because there is a water, if there is a boatman or someone, a human element looking at this picture, or someone who's standing beside, would give a more story to the whole image.
Yes,
Always when you shoot a landscape with a kind of a land, water, earth, all elements, try to add the human element also. That can give you a kind of a that would carry a lot of story behind it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing your picture. Maybe like I wanted to work on two important things. Number one, editing. We have to work on light post-production, like Lightroom or Snapchat. We have to spend them considerable amount of time for post-production, number one. And number two, think about it while taking photographs. Do not shoot randomly. I want to focus on framing, composition, and the much more importantly, timing. Because the pattern you have to observe it with pattern is better. Sometimes it will not be suitable, so do not capture it. So the more you think, better frame you get it. That's my humble request. You can try working on these concepts and these points. I'm sure you will make a progress in taking good picture. Thank you for sharing those beautiful work, Gayatri. I appreciate my time for sending those pictures for review. I'm sure you will make a progress in upcoming review session too. Okay?
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to share which one is 1 second. Kalaivani. Okay. Kalaivani is sharing me this is your. Okay. I'm sure this picture can be changed here too. Hi, Kalaivani.
Hello, hi. Good evening.
Okay, fine. What do you think about this picture, Vasanti ma'am?
Kalaivani, you have a kind of an artist taste towards landscapes. I have valued your images. It's beautiful. Seriously, you have captured the right colors. Is it a kind of image that is between 5 to 6? Or
yeah, it was almost 6:30 because over there in Hong Kong, the sunset is later.
Sunset is nearing. Okay,
yeah,
sunset is nearing. Okay. You have, I mean, the foreground, the midground, and the background. I mean, you rightly, the composition is very good. Only thing is these kind of landscape where you are touching the kind of golden hours, right? You're nearing to the golden hour.
Yes.
If you can create a kind of a mood, a dramatic image, you can turn that any image when you shoot on the golden hours. Try to have I mean, you have done the editing, right? You have done the editing to this image. How could the sky is blue? It can never be blue during the golden hours. Is it by editing that you have converted that into blue?
No, over there it was not a harsh light.
Okay. No, it is completely blue.
Yeah, it was really blue over there. So it was kind of, a mood creating one. It just rained at 3 o'clock. So the, clouds were settling and it's kind of ash and bluish kind of a thing. So,
okay, what is the white balance setting that you have set for this image, Kalai?
Ma'am, I'm not very clear, ma'am, because I did it back here. I'm so sorry about it. I'm not
because the blue tinge is more there. If you could move towards the warmth kind of a Kelvin value, if you have chosen, you could have captured the exact golden hour of image of natural. No, it is you told me that it is a kind of a rainy time or whatever. It is about to rain. That the clouds were a bit dark.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
but I'm not able to see the dark clouds where the gray images of clouds are not there. That's because of your white balance shift, which is not appropriate to this image. Otherwise, it's a beautiful image, well captured, well positioned, and well composed, Kalaivan. Look into the white balance settings, because the white balance settings through the camera is different from the white. After taking the image, you're trying to saturate the white balance settings in the editing. You'll have to be clear on both. Which one do you want to choose or whatever you choose? Let it be natural, because you've shot this on a golden hour, and you have wanted the thick clouds. There is no. I'm not able to see any dark clouds there to give the mood of a rainy time or whatever. So if you can, the sometimes the clouds in between the clouds are really open, and the rest of the clouds are little dark. The white balance settings to this kind of moody, the right white balance settings to this moody picture would give you a very great dynamic feel to the whole thing. That's what I wanted to suggest. Otherwise, it's a beautiful image.
Sure, ma'am. Point taken. I'll definitely improve on that.
One second. Okay, fine. Kalaivan, at what time you have shot this image? At what time? Any timing that you have anything like, or do you have any specific timing that you have shot this photograph?
This particular photo I shot it like 6:30, sir.
Okay. Okay, but I have a
6:30 or between 5:30 to 6?
No, it was 6:30 because over there in Hong Kong the dawn is late.
Okay,
It comes by 8 or something. So it's 6:30, 6:45, something like that.
Late dawn.
I understood that. I understood it. But I suggest you have to work on very simple things in Lightroom. In Lightroom, 16:9 ratio, if you have it, you have a crop ratio called the 16:9. You have the crop ratio 1:1, 4:5, 3:2, 16:9. I'm suggesting you to use 16:9 ratio to keep both foreground and background in half of range. And if you want to keep the sky very interesting, use gradient tool to make it more dark. And using that gradient tool will help it to make it more dramatic too. Okay. And one more thing is, if you want to change the perspective, always shoot it from a little bit more coverage on the background. If you cover more about the background, because the sky looks very interesting, you have a lot of pattern in the sky. Therefore, I suggest you to include more background, maybe like just above the camera. If you tilt your camera just towards the sky, you can 1/4 of the frame will be covered by foreground. The remaining 3/4 will be covered by sky. That makes the frame a little bit more interesting. That is my suggestion. If you keep that composition interesting, okay?
Yes.
It's a very good picture, and I'm sure you can work on the white balance things, but it's absolutely okay. But the perspective is very important when we work on something interesting, this kind of composition, okay? And I'm going to next image.
Okay.
Tell me more about this image.
Yes, so this is particularly my aim was to focus on the harsh light and the dark light together. So this part of the bridge, if you see, second half of the bridge that's there in the back is having the harsh light, and the front of it is having the dark light. So in between the bridge crossing towards another leading line over there at the edge, I felt some interesting perspective and I clicked it. So this was my ultimate aim. I was not very sure of the image, and that's why I wanted a review on this.
Okay. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, Kalai, this angle of composition can be little more different than the one that you have shot, because I'm sure that you have shot this image towards the edge of the some boat ridge, or towards your right of your camera. See, it is towards your right of your corner. What I'm trying to say is, try to compose this image where you get this entire arch of the bridge in the center, so that the boats keep streaming from the back to the front. I think the angle of where you have shot, the timing is, you have missed out the right timing of this beautiful image actually. I mean, your story were very accurate, and you thought of something, but you have clicked a different picture, if I'm right.
I understand. I get that.
Huh? It's very
Yeah.
very and it's a kind of a harsh light also. That's okay. Even you can take a dramatic images even in the harsh light. That's not an issue. But only thing is the angle of composition. If you can work on this particular image, it would have been it would have carried a different story altogether and kind of a dramatic image.
Sure, sure, ma'am. That's why I wanted to review on this photo because I was not able to, particularly relate after taking it. So, thanks for
Uh, yeah, you thought of something and but you have clicked a
yeah,
different.
I ended up in something else. And after I shot it, I understood, okay, it's different. And at that point of time, I didn't have any particular clear direction on what to be done. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, fine. After, I used to review the photos, ma'am, actually. So
Okay.
now and then I used to take my pictures and keep reviewing and I crop it and I try to see if there is a possible composition available. So this was not cropped one, but I felt this photo has to get some inputs for me to improve in the earlier part.
Yeah, okay. But this can also be corrected in many ways. In fact, this particular shot, it could have been shot on a different angle, not just one single angle, but still you missed out. I feel that you missed out the timing of the shot.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. You've just tried out. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Vasanthi, for sharing your inputs. But I believe subtitle is not working for me. So I assume whatever I had understood from this picture, I'm just giving my opinion about it. So I want to give you thoughts about that picture. I could not understand why did you choose in the harsh light. Do not ever choose landscape images in harsh light. That is number one. I don't recommend to choose any images during daytime, especially after 10 o'clock. So landscape photography is all about in the early morning and the late evening, probably after 5:30, between 5:30 to 7 p.m. That is a bit charming for landscape in the evening. For morning 5 to 8 a.m. that is a bit charming because this timing will give the better light pattern and you can actually think better to get better shot. But when you think about this kind of images, the sky is very flat and the background is not actually, you create more like atmosphere of cityscape. So I think it is very important to bring different perspective by keeping in different angles. That is my suggestion. But it's okay, you can come up with more shots. That is very important. I'm sure very much looking forward. And I give one more suggestion to you. Do not keep the image too contrast. I feel some of your images are having too much of contrast. So contrast can be reduced a bit to make it, a little bit more appealing. That is my suggestion.
Sure.
You can work on that. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And fifth one, final images here. What do you think about it? Can you please tell me where exactly you have shorted?
So this is
Color image. Okay.
Yeah, it was my image and it was morning, I think 7:30, but by then it was harsh there, I guess. But the moment I saw the air balloon and the view from the window, it was from the window, and I was, prepared to take this. So I like the breadth of the image, the way the entire city is being shown, and there's a bridge over there, and the shade of the balloon on the buses down, and there's a roadway. So I felt a bit complete, and there's also a small ship that's been running there. I think it's a boat there. So I felt there's a lot of things, inside this particular frame with proper, background. So that's why I shot this.
This is Kalai. Is this by shot by mobile camera?
No, yes, ma'am. It was by mobile only. Yeah, it was by OnePlus.
OnePlus. Yeah. So this shot it by mobile.
Yes. I took it in pro mode.
Okay.
All right, okay, fine. I understood you have shot it using mobile shot. I want you to work on few things. Number one, contrast. They may be a little bit wide, a little bit contrast here. I want to reduce the contrast because the blue color is very big high here. You can actually reduce it 2-3 points in that contrast using Snapseed or Lightroom, which are applications you can use. It's not a big issue. Second thing, I like the composition, the placement of road, the sea water, and the background sky. They are good. I really love that concept, but the timing is very wrong. probably have shot it in sometimes in early morning or early evening, I mean late evening. That creates a very dramatic outlook of that place. That's my humble suggestion. You can try out the same composition in different timing. Did you try that? Did you try in different timing of this place?
No, sir, I did not try.
Kalai, even in pro mode, you can reduce the contrast, saturation, and brightness.
Yes, ma'am. I should have
Try
done.
doing that because I could find out from your image that it is a mobile shot. Even in pro mode in mobile cameras, you can work on contrast, brightness, and saturation because it's a deeper blue in color. Try to take, try to learn the settings in your camera before you click onto the pro mode in camera.
Sure. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, I got it, sir. Thank you, Kalaiwani, for sharing that work. But I think I'm sure you can work on this changes. I believe you have a lot of contrast in images. I could identify your style of work by observing the image. I just want to reduce the contrast, a little bit more. Timing. The timing of shot should always be either early morning and late evening. That is my humble suggestion. You can try the timing for taking those pictures. I'm sure you can work on them. I'm very much looking forward to see the pictures taken in different time slot, probably early morning and not late evening. That is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to share next images here, probably this picture. So I think, please wait. Okay, and I'm going to share Manoj's work. Hi Manoj, good evening, how are you?
Good evening, Steve. I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful work. I'm sure it is my favorite shot here. Okay, let's begin with Pachanti. What you suggest about this image?
Beautiful a lady portrait where you're trying to give a message. A traditional old woman symbolizes the kind of a culture that she has, culture that she is telling over, narrating a story with all her expressions right in a very happy mood. It's a street photography. You really can't, it's difficult to go approach a subject and say, can you move towards right or left? But I'm sure this portraiture, this subject would have really cooperated well for you, if I'm right. Did you request her to pose for this photo? Because I have my next query coming up. Can you tell me whether you have asked her to pose for this photo, or it is just a candid photo that you have taken?
You're right, madam. So this was taken during the MPB and Namur Namkadai walk around Triplicate. We are going through the Triplicate and Agraharam lanes, and I asked her to pose for the camera, and she didn't hesitate, and she readily agreed.
Very beautiful. It's a bokeh background. In that case, when the subject is ready to pose, always look for a clean background. If you had asked this lady to move to some kind of a wall where there is a clean background wall of this yellowish color, the cream background, this would this portraiture would have been completely awesome. It is already awesome. I'm sorry, but it would have been brilliant if we could always when a subject is very cooperative and willing to pose for you, look for a clean background where it becomes a perfect portraiture. Otherwise, it's a beautiful one. You worked on it so wonderfully.
Okay. Thank you, Manoj, for sharing this beautiful work. I appreciate your picture, that expression, the smile, and the details on the skin, the wrinkles, and it reflects so many thoughts. I think I have seen this picture many times in Instagram, Facebook. It has been a little bit on time to time. I believe it's a very popular one for a while. I think we have shot this one during Triplicate, right? I have shot it during Triplicate walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. I know it is very, I really like the concept of using this picture. There is no doubt in that. It is very classic portrait, there is no doubt. But I include, try to include backdrop, like the environment, the place, inclusion of surroundings will make it more complete story. That will suggestion. You can try that in next time. You can keep them as the option in your list.
I feel that Manoj, you should give her a copy of this, Manoj. It's beautiful.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
sure, madam.
Okay, so I suggest you to include more backdrop in the next time. Let me keep it option. But maybe you can plan better next time. But I'm sure this is one of the best one from your collection. Whenever I see the picture, I remember your name. That's how it is creating the impact. Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful work. I think we have a few more images of you too. Yeah, this portrait. Okay. What do you think?
This is.
It will process images.
I think I see only one thing that it is a very minor thing that it is. You could have asked that boy to. I mean, you could have avoided the boy behind that, which is a very distracting element with colors. If you could move slightly. I mean, if you had, I requested the boy to pose little more towards his left, I think it would have been a complete portraiture. But I mean, the side angle portrait is also good, but make sure that there is no distracting elements on the background. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's a great.
it was actually totally chaos that time. I mean, it was taken during Holi,
okay.
and
I know
it was
it's a
difficult to
candid.
get
It's a
hold of it.
candid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a candid place.
it's a candid. Okay. But I believe the boy is looking down. He's not looking at the camera,
Yeah.
which I mean, which carries a bit of a story behind it, saying what is this man doing with the camera? That's what I think he's trying to say through
Exactly,
his
with a lot of
expression.
photographers around him, and he was kind of
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice one, very nice, very colorful, and I like the kind of a hat that he is wearing, which you have brought out so brilliantly with the colors that through your camera.
I do have one suggestion. Do not shoot portraits in hard lighting. Do not ever shoot it in hard lighting. That is my humble suggestion.
Okay.
You can ask if the person gives pose to you, maybe you can ask them to move a little bit where exactly you can be able to get a proper soft light, maybe a bouncing light or somewhere you can get a proper light. That is a better option. You get a little bit more dramatic shots of a person. The details will be more visible because you can avoid shadows in the face. If you notice nearby nose on the face, you can see a lot of shadows here. So this will reduce the importance of details on the face. That is my suggestion. And it will also reduce the importance of colors as well as light. Therefore, just a simple suggestion to you. Just always shoot in chalk light or somewhere you can ask the subject little bit more close to somewhere where you get have a lot of shadows and shoot it. You may get a lot of beautiful poetry if you want to make a proper one. But if you try something very creative or something very out of context or somewhere you want to try out in harsh lighting and then go for it. But detail can't be guaranteed. That is my point. So it depends on the situation, depends on the idea you are executing it. I'm sure this is one of the good shots too. But I suggest you to work on keeping the subject in somewhere chalk light and get the details of the face. That is my suggestion. I'm sure you can work on it. Okay?
Sure. Noted, sir.
Thank you so much for sharing this work. And I remember you to take a lot of pictures using GoPro, some of the perspective or amazing one. I remember them very well. I remember you have shared some pictures last week. I mean, last 2 weeks. They're amazing one. Thank you. Yeah. Wow, it is fantastic shot. Can you explain about this picture? Where did you shoot? And how did you shoot?
So we shot this at Kolamil actually. So this was shot during last November. It was a lazy sunrise. There were a lot of dark clouds there, and the sun didn't come up early. So that shot this around 7:30, 7:45, and got this clip.
Is the brightness adjusted in the Lightroom, Manoj?
Yes, madam.
What I feel is, I mean, it's a beautiful artistic image, but if you could let that image altogether as a natural, whether the brightness is little bit reduced on the right hand side, where the boat is, leading towards the other part of the lake, it would have been even more dramatic, I feel, because you have exposed the brightness altogether uh, overall on the image. It's a fantastic image, no doubt about it. But try to create for this kind of image. Try to create a some kind of a drama that touches our emotions more closely. Is not to expose the whole image completely to the brightness.
Okay.
Okay, fine. I think I remember you have this chart is very nice one. I don't have anything about this one except the post production. You can actually reduce the grain a little bit of this one. I could feel a little bit of grain here. Maybe like I'm not sure whether the system or camera. Maybe you can work on Lightroom to reduce a little bit of noise. Number one. And number two is you can try 16:9 ratio if it would be nice to.
Yeah, the ratio can be adjusted. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes. So I suggest you to work on crop ratio. How many of you have used the 16:9 crop ratio? That makes actually a little bit more dramatic landscape images. For this kind of job, I always prefer 16:9. Just your opinion, you can try that if you'd like to. 16:9 will give very panoramic view. Like it will fill it out the entire screen of the system or laptop. That is my suggestion. Okay. And
okay, sure. Yeah.
which software do you use it for editing? Lightroom or Snapseed?
Lightroom, sure.
Okay, Lightroom. That is very good. I think you can try different crop version that gives a different perspective. Okay, can you please try?
Okay.
Yeah, you have a different crop ratio. So sometimes 1:1 or 16:9 or sometimes 16:10, 4:5. You have a different ratio. So for the landscape, I suggest you try 16:9. That gives ultimate good view. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Noted.
And I believe this one is my favorite one. This is the best shot of all three images. I really like that one because that gets very connected with the person and that man, everything is so warm here. Thank you so much for sharing those beautiful work. Manoj, I appreciate your time for being here. And we do have people to share one more. I'm sharing it here. Third review is 1 second. So I think thank you so much, Manoj, for sharing this. And next one we do have a Praveen. Hi, Praveen.
Hi, sir. How are you?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm nice connecting you here, and thank you so much for sharing the work. I think we have shared some portraits here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just opening the images here.
It's a black and white portrait. Why a low key? It's a low key portrait. Has tones, but are mostly dark like this. Compare it to a high key image where these low key images, most of the tones are higher than the 50% of the gray part. So when you shoot this, low key portraiture replaces a kind of a light, airy feel with more moody and dramatic look. See, that's not to say that you're underexposing the subject to get that low key look. I want to ask you one question. Did you use a torchlight or something on the eyes to have this kind
actually,
of? What lights
actually,
did you use?
Yeah. Actually, I used a high-speed flash with a chart which is actually a rectangle shaped. I actually made
strobe light. Is it a strobe light?
Yeah. Actually, it is not exactly a strobe light. Actually, I made a DIY of the so that it exactly comes into the eyes of the face.
Okay. If you can use this kind of, it's you have tried it really very well. It's a kind of a studio lighting that you have tried. But if you have a kind of a grid, it's be even better. As long as you can control where the light goes, you'll be able to nail this low key portrait with a kind of a grid fitting on your lights. You know what I'm saying? Able to understand what is a grid lighting?
Yeah. I'm able to understand. Actually, yeah, I just had a minimal setup and
what I'm trying to say is add a grid to your lighting modifier. By adding a grid to your modifier, you can control the light even more. See,
Yeah.
it is you're directly telling the story, saying both the eyes you are exposed to light. If you could expose one eye and one with a kind, it would have been more dramatic. Or with a grid, or you don't need a grid light at all, or a simple thing. You know the vegetable basket where you keep all the fruits.
Yeah.
Cover that basket and the light. You will have that patterns on the face.
Yeah.
You remember, you're trying to say what? I hope you're able to understand what I'm saying.
I'm getting it. Yeah.
That is grid. The grid can be not exactly a grid, like it can be a basket also, where you have the patterns being there on the basket. Put that basket on the light, you get this kind of a texture. Or one-eyed, that the instead of exposing both the lights, it could have been one eye can be of exposed and one eye can be on dark, where you really create a kind of a light, a good a low key portrait. See, a light, and also there's hair is, you have not covered the hair also. See, light with the grid added and light onto the hair, that will be even more better in this. See, while you all now have a very cool low key effect, you will see that hair is starting to blend with the background. If you want a separation between the hair and the background, you need to add a fill light to that. But for this particular thing, if you had add a grid or something, and also added the exposed the hair, it would have been a great a kind of a dramatic low key portrait.
Yeah,
that's my suggestion.
Yes, I can understand.
Okay.
Make sure that your hair light doesn't hit your lens also. Otherwise, you'll get a flare. Use a grid or a flat to block your modifier if necessary. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that image. I'm not a portrait photographer, but I can give my suggestion. Maybe like I could feel a little bit of more negative space in that image here. So I think you can actually use crop. Probably use it 1 by 1 crop factor or different crop factors. Can you try it different crop factors like 5 by 4? That can make a little bit better look. That is my suggestion. Apart from this, can you explain how did you shoot this image? Like, what is the light source? How did you keep the light source? And how did you shoot it? Did you try it in home?
Yeah, it was tried it in home. Actually, what I used is a high-speed sync plus with a remote in my camera, so that I kept the setup in a tripod, and it was like filling the whole room. So what I did was
Rembrandt lighting.
Yeah. Then what I did was to exactly make this eye only exposed. I covered. I did a DIY setup with the use of chart, with which I rolled the chart and blocked the light so that it exactly comes into his eyes. I want the whole attention to his eyes, so that's why I did that.
Okay. I think you can reduce a little bit more of light, because the highlight is quite, it is quite harsh on the subject here. So you can reduce a little bit of intensity of light needs to be reduced. 1 or 2 points can be reduced. So it will actually look better. That is my suggestion. And that is the one thing. Second thought is you can crop it. If you crop like 1 by 1 or 5 by 4, that may look better. Okay. Apart from this, this is better one. You have done little bit experimentation. Keep sharing more experimenting images. Thank you, sharing for images here. Okay, thank you. And can you explain about where did you shoot it?
This was shot in Marina. Actually, I went in the late evenings around 5:30. And I wasn't expecting moon to be there. I really don't know whether moon. Suddenly, I saw the moon, and I saw some the 3 layers. So I want to capture what I saw. The 3 layers were there. Like the moon is there, and the sky and the sea is exactly connecting with it. So I want to make this. So I just composed this.
Is it by a mobile camera shot?
No, it is Nikon D3400.
Okay, fine. So I think
you've done the editing also in
Snapseed and Lightroom. I used combination.
Yeah, you've done the editing to increase the pink light color a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a few suggestions for you. Yeah, actually, you can do something about it. One focus is missing here. I think if you're, did you use zoom lens or 1855 or 55 to 50?
I used some. Yeah, I used 7300, and yes, I have a doubt on that.
Okay.
I'll ask at the last of my review regarding the focus only.
I understood that. So I feel it could have been, we need little bit of focus, sharpness is missing. I feel it's very chopped focus. I'm not sure about the aperture detail. I can actually check it out, the details here. Aperture, what was the file information if I check it out here? I'm not getting the details of here. So do you have any idea what is the aperture of this picture?
I'm not able to
8
remember.
or
Maybe, yeah, around f/4 or like that.
Okay, fine, fine.
4.5.
Okay, fine. So maybe you can try a little bit of more F number with a little bit of long exposure, probably like low shutter speed with a proper tripod, because light is getting dark in evening hours. So whenever the light is getting dark, always use tripod. That is a better option for long exposure. Probably if you are shooting below 1/30, 1/20, try use for tripod is better option. Maybe small, always carry tripod wherever you go. It may not be useful, it may be useful, but suggest you to choose using tripod. That's it. But I like the concept of composition, like the three different colors with actually blue, pink, and the light blue. You have done good job here. And I think you can little bit of more focusing work that can be done only in camera, and the timing is very important. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this
To
one.
increase the contrast in the editing?
Yeah, a little bit. I
On the water side.
Yeah. Because I thought it was very soft, and I want to show the kind of
You'll have to be a little careful when adjusting the contrast. See, when you try to adjust the contrast, you lose that original color, natural color. It can be adjusted. It has to be adjusted so that it balances, and especially when the contrast happens to be on a foreground, you'll have to. Obviously, it looks little more kind of not a natural feel. So when you adjust the contrast, make sure that you adjust towards the point where it doesn't obscure the background as well. Because this water is slightly on a contrast is bit more. Try to work on that mildly. That will be better.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. I'm going to next image here. Wow, this is very creative. Can you please tell me more about this one?
Yeah, this was shot on the same day. I saw the 2 to 3 of three boats coming here and there. I was shooting normally. Suddenly, I thought, oh, why shouldn't we try a panning shot? And I made some exposure settings, and I got this.
Okay. What made you to change it to monochrome, or did you shot by monochrome?
Yeah, I actually changed it to monochrome because I felt that first what I did was I experimented with both, with colors and the monochrome. I thought that monochrome has more detail to I was able to pull more detail from the monochrome. So I thought it would be
because of the textures and patterns that you saw, that it can give a good monochrome shot. So I want to know, I want just to ask you what made you to convert this into a monochrome shot? That's the reason. Try, if you've decided to go for a monochrome shot, try to do directly through the camera, shifting to the monochrome shot. Thereby you'll get naturally a kind of a blending pattern with the white and gray scales even better.
Okay, fine.
You've edited it so beautifully, but still always try to, if you've decided to go for a monochrome shot on these kind of a situation where your panning is done is also good, go for the monochrome shots through your camera as well. You can see the difference.
Yes, sure.
Okay. How you care about it? But I like the concept of panning shot here. And I think you have done a little bit very creative job here. There is no doubt in that. Maybe you can include a little bit more of the subject, like including the complete boat, or you can have it more on the subject. That would be a good idea. Okay. my suggestion is try to include more of the subject instead of keeping the half one, other half is not covered in that picture. So I'm just giving the better idea for making the composition better. Apart from this one is good. Like the creativity, probably the panning one. I think you have taught this in the evening, right? You have taught at what time, like 5:30 or 6 o'clock?
By 5:30 to 6 at the same time where the last shot was at the same time, 5:30 to 6.
Nice. I believe, I feel this is the best of all your work. I find this is very interesting and very creative. I like the concept of using panning here. I appreciate your effort for sharing this with me. Thank you, sharing for this one beautiful one. I think this one is very creative. That part you have used your whole hand. I like this concept of getting the panning shot. Probably it requires a lot of practice just for this one. You have done good job. Okay, and can try out little bit including the subject next time. Do not leave the subject off. Further off would be like, I don't want to be like keeping it off. Okay, I suggest you to include the entire board in the frame. That would be better one. Okay. Yeah, I think your perspective may different from mine, but I'm just giving the idea to you. You can try out on the song. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I have some doubts which I wanted to ask. Can I ask that?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, for example, the second image which I shot was the main problem was with focus. The moon and the waters. There were in this one. So actually, in most of the situations where I want to compose something, what is happening is if I focus on the moon, I'm missing the focus on the waters. And if I focus on the waters or the subject down, I'm not able to scale up and go there to the moon, and I'm not able to focus it. So is there anything I can do so that I can have focus on the at least the 3/4 of the image or the full image? I should have focus. So what can I do for that? Because I'm facing this issue a number of times. That's it.
It depends on what time do you shoot the moon. It depends on what time do you shoot the moon. See, the moon, if it has just started to raise, you can have the focus in the right way. But if you're going to shoot that moon on, see, the moon shifts very quickly, as you know. Yeah. Okay, depends on what focus points do you choose on your camera.
And, I have one suggestion for you. You can go for a hyperfocal length. How many of you heard about hyperfocal distance? I think many of them heard about that too. Hyperfocal distance is something about different shutter speed too. I think you can have a hyperfocal distance that will help us to give maybe like the subject between the backdrop, moon, and especially the water, because if you use like a hyperfocal distance, that gives the focus of all the entire film. Okay, can you please search about hyperfocal distance? That may give the better idea. I think somebody has given comment here. Maybe probably who is it? I want to check it about it here. So hi Murali, how are you? I could see that you have used the select shutter speed increase aperture to f8, f11. Can you please come forward to camera? I'm very much looking forward. Hi Murali. Murali, can you please come to camera here?
Hi Srivachan.
How are you?
I'm good. Okay. Praveen, can I speak Srivachan to Praveen? Yeah. That's fine.
Okay. So I think you have given comments about like it's a tripod ISO to 400. That is also, I think you have to use this kind. That is one solution. The other solution is like a tryout, like hyperfocal distance. You can have an idea about hyperfocal distance that gives better perspective. Okay, I'm sure you can try about that for upcoming landscape shooting. Okay, I'm just Google about it. What is exactly hyperfocal distance? That will help us to cover more about background as well as foreground too. Okay.
Yeah. That means you are talking about giving a focus
thank you, Murali, for
on all the places, right?
Yeah. Okay. And I think you're going to check next images here. Thank you, Praveen, for sharing the images. I'm sure you got the idea. Do you have any doubt?
Yeah, the second doubt, one small doubt I have is yeah, whenever I am shooting in sunlight, especially a landscape, I'm getting a kind of lens flare, exactly not a lens flare, a kind of dark spot around in some places of the image. I don't know whether it's wrong with my camera, or is there
Dark
something?
spots is you are getting the black dark spots.
Yeah.
Your camera needs to be cleaned.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I was
Your
googling
camera
about.
sensor needs to be cleaned.
Okay. Okay.
Especially you could see that in a monochrome shots.
Yeah, exactly.
More. Okay, so your camera sensor is ready for it should be cleaned. It's ready. It should be cleaned. Go take it to a service center and get it cleaned. They will do it in about within few minutes and give it back to you.
Okay. 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 Actually, one last doubt I have. I want to ask this. Can I ask that one last doubt? I'll finish.
No, please
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Actually, I know that we should not try shooting in harsh light, but in some situations where we are going into to a tourist place, we are going with our family. What is happening is we are there in a place in once in a lifetime situation, and we are exposed to harsh light, and we are actually forced to shoot in harsh light at that situation. I cannot go there by with the family at 7 or 8 in the morning. I am forced to be there at 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock. So it is like a once in a lifetime situation where I go when I go there. So what can I do there to avoid the effects from harsh light? What can I do? That's a question.
Okay, so what can you do when you go for like a trip? When you go with a family trip, when you go with different limited time slot, you have to spend dedicated time for your photography. Probably like in the early morning and the early evening. That is the best timing for you. I think you need to practice yourself to go out of your comfort zone and to try out your own timing. And whenever you go with the family or whenever you go with your friends, have you ever tried in the early morning?
No,
Have you ever
actually,
tried it
if
alone?
I'm going alone, I'll be able to try it. I'm going to Marina. I'm going around Chennai. So that's not a problem for me. But if I'm going some like North India like that, I'm not able to capture in the golden hours. I'm forced to be on the harsh light after 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock like that. So that's where the problem starts.
I understand that. I understand that it will be difficult situation. I know that, but I suggest you to work on timing. Timing is very important, and when you go with your friends or family, but I think you have to plan better. That is the only way to make it forward. Okay, and you have to dedicate your own timing. Probably if you are with a friend, let them sleep on early morning. Go alone by yourself. Outside in the morning, and you can come back by 9 o'clock, then get along with your friends by 10 a.m. That is my point. You have to dedicate your own timing for it. That is my suggestion. Okay, I hope you can do. I'm sure you can work on that. Whenever you are going with the family, you can go out with them on that specific timing. But apart from that, you have to allot your own timing, probably in the evening. Tell them I'm going out a little bit for other work. I'm trying to spend more time for myself. They will understand better. Okay, it's all about telling the people. It's all about how to convince them and take a time out of it and do that. I'm sure you can work on it. Okay.
Sure.
It's kind of a harsh light photography. You're talking about the harsh light is also photography. See where the situation which the highlights and the blacks within a scene are spaced out. You can't really work on that. It's difficult to work on the harsh light unless you have a proper exposure or an experience towards it. Photographers, often associate it with when the sun is higher in the sky. Correspondingly, they look outside during a cloudless day. Light is not very soft. Light is harsh. Or the direction and shadows are very, very difficult to work on. So try to go for a soft light always when you travel.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for your
so the question is harsh lighting. That is the question for us.
Yeah. Actually, I'm if I'm exposed to harsh light, if my image is exposed to harsh light, what can I do? That's what I got the answer. Yeah.
Oh, I got the okay, fine. I'm sorry for the confusion.
No. Actually, it was. I got the answer.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
But okay, fine. I think let us make it sure about it. I'm sure you got the answer for your question. This one is, I think if you have any doubt, you can talk to me personally. I'll answer them. Okay. Thank you for sharing this picture. I'm going to next one. Going to Ramana. Hi, Ramana. Are
Hi,
you
sir.
there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm from Pollachi, right? You are from Pollachi, I remember.
No, sir. Udumalpet, nearby Pollachi.
Udumalpet, okay, fine. I think I'm fan of your landscape images. Wow, this is so different one. The perspective looks very different here. Vasanti, what do you think about this picture?
Ramana, this is a beautiful picture, but are you aware of the bracketing settings in your camera?
Yes, ma'am. But I saw this on the way. I was returning from Munnar on early morning. I was waiting for my friends near this viewpoint. Just took a shot and I went, ma'am. Just I did.
It's a beautiful. It's a beautiful.
Just change my
image.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, the why I'm telling is your images are already to the next level of improvement. It's fantastic. What I'm trying to say is try to learn the bracketing settings in your camera where you adjust the color contrast, sharpness, and are you aware that bracketing can in your camera can be the green color can be enhanced, the kind of a soft light upper blue kind can be increased, and if you can have a closer view of the waterfalls would have been more dramatic. I mean, this is a long wide angle lens that you have shot. What I'm trying to say is if you have shot the waterfall little closer and define the layers colorfully, this would have been a more better image.
Okay. Did you crop the image? Did you crop it?
Yes, sir. I cropped it. Yes, sir.
Okay. I could see it very clearly because the quality is very reduced a little bit here. So I don't want you to crop it. If you're shooting this kind of beautiful waterfalls, it's absolutely good. But I think to have cropped a lot. I don't want to crop it too much here. Because of cropping, the quality is a bit diminishing. And maybe if you're using high-end cameras, like some little bit higher-end one, higher picture, and then you can crop it. That would be a good idea. Probably, I don't recommend to crop all the photos, basically. Depends on the situation, you can do it, or you can use zoom lens. That would be a good idea. If you have a 7200 or a 7300 or some zoom lens or 600 mm, I'm sure you will get better shot too. Because of zoom lens, it will really does not reduce the quality too. Okay, and
I have the same shot with 400, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question for you.
Just I took it with the kit lens. I took it with the kit lens for this wider angle shot, sir.
Yeah, okay. You have a photo with you without cropping. You mean that? You have a photo without cropping? Do you have a photo without cropping?
Yes, sir. I have it, sir.
Yeah, okay. You can share it with me later, okay? I'll just have a look about it. I just want to check it out that without cropping that image. That is my suggestion. And I think apart from that one, I can't judge this image is better one. Maybe without cropping, I can tell how exactly it can be done better. And but it could, I could attempt here. Wow, this is beautiful one. What do you think about your Vasanti?
Yeah, it's a beautiful landscape image with the clouds, very inviting and dreamy kind of a look. Ramana, can you, as you are very good at, as you are aware of the editing concepts, if you can enhance you can use the filter on the the Lightroom techniques to increase the green portion of it a little bit on the left hand side to show the kind of a layers, the green, the blue, and the dark clouds appropriately with a kind of a layer separation. This can be done on editing, which can give you a fantastic landscape image.
Okay. Hi, Ramana. Was it taken during traveling towards
which place is this, Ramana?
Pollachi to Alpari route, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually, night happened.
Okay. So you have shot this image on the way to Valpara. I remember it's the pin bend. You have shot it by while traveling, or you have chopped it and shoot it. Did you chop and shoot it?
Yes, sir. I stopped down, sir. Actually, I was returning from Valpari, sir.
Oh, okay, so that's very nice. I like the concept of using the shot, but did you try it in black and white, in
No, no,
monochrome?
sir. I tried. No,
Maybe
sir.
you can try a little bit of monochrome that will get dramatic look of this one too. I think these kind of shots are more like a fine art. So fine arts and landscape is in between here. So I feel it, you can try that kind of shot for fine art too in black and white. Can you please try black and white and let me know how does it look? Okay.
Okay. I'll try it out in sir.
Yeah, sure. And this is very, I love the concept. You have to be sharing a lot of bird photography. Landscape is completely different from your style of work. Your bird photography is so beautiful. Most of them are from your area. I mean, Udumalapet and Western Ghats. It's a lot of opportunities to shoot both landscape and birding, I believe. Right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, tell me. Where did you shoot this?
And I would like to add one thing, sir.
Okay, do you have chocolate near your house?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Let me add one thing, sir.
So I think.
Anyway. Okay, sir. Please continue, sir. I will tell at last.
Okay, fine. You have chocolate near your house, right? It's more like
yes, sir.
Daytime, probably after 10 a.m. Before evening time, right?
Around 11 o'clock, sir.
Evening 4 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
Okay.
Sun is there. Yes,
11, sir. 11.
Okay, fine. So I think it's very important to shoot in different different timings. I suggest you to shoot in the evening or early morning. If you have a tripod, you can try long exposure. That gives a very dramatic look. Maybe like the flow of water will make it very smooth, and you can try different exposure in the evening time. Can you please try it whenever you have waterfall, whenever you have a beautiful water flow? Try long exposure with the proper tripod. I'm sure you can do that. Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll try it out, sir.
Yeah. I appreciate your effort for trying out this kind of landscape, but I'm sure you can actually look into long exposure to keep long exposure in your learning and experiment it and do a lot of mistakes. I'm sure you can come up with better thoughts for that. What do you think, Vasanthi?
It's a beautiful composition where he has brought forward the foreground, mid-ground, the layers so beautifully. And I have a feeling that he has, I mean, without the tripod, he has tried for a longer exposure.
Okay.
Did you try for to make that water, I mean, kind of a glossy finish to get that right? As Sri says, but try to use the tripod for such kind of shots where the water flow will be very smooth and glossy. Use a tripod, work on shutter speed techniques. This will make even more dramatic of where you redefine the layers so beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely right. So I think I'm sure you can work on long exposure to get very smooth water. I'm very much looking forward to see your long exposure shot with the proper tripod. You have a tripod with you, right?
Yes, sir. I have, sir.
Very good. Okay, fine. I'm sure you can experiment it and let me know. Okay. For landscape photographers, I always suggest you to shoot in the morning or evening. Do not shoot in the afternoon, especially plain dark, plain day, because it won't be good. If you're trying out in proper day, use filters. You have different ND filters or polarizing filters or different filters will help to make the landscape better. Okay. Yeah. And I feel this one is the best of all your three images. I really loved this shot because it's very dramatic. The way actually, the clouds are tanking and the water, everything looks very dramatic in this one. Thank you for sharing this shot. I really loved this one. And somebody, I think, you can come up with more landscape images. I'm looking forward. Thank you, Ramanam. Do you have any questions?
No, sir. I would like to add one thing, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much for sharing the question, sir. And I'm going to next question. Jason, is Jason is here? I think Jason did not join the.
I think we should skip the reviews.
Okay, fine. So I'm going to next question. Rajan, sir. Hi, Chelva. Good evening. How are you?
Selvarajan is there?
Hello, Chelva. Is Chelva here?
Hello, sir. I'm there.
Okay, fine. Nice meeting you here. So I think I'm a great fan of your landscape images. I used to see a lot of good work. I really appreciate your time. This shot was kind of explain about like when did you shoot, how did you shoot, did you use any flash or something? Please tell me.
This shot was taken on 2018. So I just went for a photo shoot with my friend and shot some images.
Okay.
This was shot in Besant Nagar beach.
Was it a candid?
No, it was not candid. It was post.
It was post.
Yes.
Okay, then she was extending her right hand, right? Why is it what's cut on the right hand? Why is it? Because it's a beautiful portrait that you have
No, it's
taken.
not. It's not about the right hand. Actually, it was very windy, so a shawl, was not resisting.
Oh, okay.
So I really loved that. I just used it as a foreground for my image.
Yeah. That shot is very nice. I think this shot gives a different perspective. I like the foreground, the blending of cloth, everything is so good. I feel it's more like a very dramatic look here. I don't have
this
any
will make a
opinion
beautiful
on
monochrome shot.
Yes.
I also processed this in monochrome.
Can you share that? Because
Sure. I'll share you. I'll share with you.
Okay, fine. I think did you use flash or natural light?
No, sir. This was natural light.
Natural light, very beautiful one. I like it.
Natural light, and I processed this in Lightroom.
Okay, fine. It is one of the best shots from your collection. You have had so many beautiful shots. It was so good. I liked the reduction of blue color in the backdrop. You have kept the blue color very subtle in post production because you want to highlight the subject better. Am I right? You have reduced the saturation in the backdrop. So
Yes,
subject will look
sir.
more prominent.
I wanted the tone to be in a very desaturated way, so it was very dramatic. The tone was very dramatic. I wanted to be in a very desaturated way.
I understood. Good effort. Very good effort. Thank you for sharing this one. I'm actually moving to let's meet people that do you have any suggestion? Vasanthi, do you have any thought you want to share?
No, he has taken it in a candid way. I think the best thing that this monochrome shoot would be very dramatic and kind of an emotional connect is there on her eyes. He has captured it so beautifully, and I mean, it's a candid image that he has shot. So it is not a, I mean, it is not a subject that he has posed for it. If she had posed for it, maybe you could have get an entire in a different angle where she turns her face around, and that would have been created a even more dramatic. But as such, it is a beautiful shot with with a lot
No,
of
ma'am.
emotions connected.
This is not at all a candid. This was completely post. I asked her to
Complete.
look it that way, and she was posing for. I took so many snaps like this.
Can
This
you
was the
share
first.
those all the snaps? Because I think maybe in one of the angle that is it a, did you try in high speed? I mean, high speed continuous mode?
No, ma'am. It was just
No. Okay.
no, not in a high speed condition.
Okay. Because if it is a high speed continuous, the frames maybe you would have also had much more or even much better frames in the shots that you have clicked, because you asked her to post what you have asked her to. Maybe you would have asked her to. Maybe you would have requested her to turn her face and if you had clicked in the high speed continuous, that one shot maybe would have turned even more completely absolutely awesome shot. This is already a good shot, but I have a feeling that if you had request as you have poster for the shot, always when you plan for such shots, ask her to move her, the head very slowly and use the high speed continuous. You could have had a even more a dramatic shots connected emotionally.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to next image here. Okay, nice. So can you please tell me where did you shoot that?
This was shot in Chettipunyam, sir. This year only. This year, I think April, I think.
Oh, nice.
So we went for a photo walk over there. So
Okay,
I really love the lights.
okay,
I just
nice.
want to capture a silhouette like shot.
What mode did you choose for the shot?
No, man.
Mode.
Just the trees, the way the trees looked, the light fell, and also the two women walking. No, it was very
Okay.
dramatic.
No. What is the mode that you selected for this shot? What mode? Manual mode or aperture mode or shutter
Manual
mode?
mode, manual mode.
Manual. Okay, manual. That's what it is. Manual mode use.
I like the concept. So I think maybe one second. So this kind of chart is actually very good. I actually like the concept of including two women walking on the street with a beautiful light with a frame and all that. This is nice chart. I think you can use little bit of keeping the camera on the floor. I feel it will make a little bit more dramatic. Maybe like if the perspective can be changed a little bit, like keeping the camera just above the road, it gets very dramatic look. That is my suggestion. Can you please try it on a chart? Or maybe like if you're shooting, some people are walking on the road, always keep it different perspective, like keeping on the floor or hip level or somewhere in the knee level, that gives different view. I think I'm shooting from chanting position, I believe, correct?
Yes, sir. I really liked how the tree framed them.
Okay, fine. You can try
It's like a
different
doorway.
perspective, like if it on that on floor, that gives more coverage on the tree, that makes it pattern look more beautiful. That is my suggestion. Okay. No, these are my suggestion. Vasanthi, do you have any thoughts about it?
No. He's to shorten a manual mode. Uh, I would. What I would be in that position. What I would have asked that both the ladies to turn around and say, just look at the camera. So, some kind of a connection between me, my camera, and the subject, uh, that which can create more stories saying a photographer is trying to shoot me or whatever. And the connection between the photographer and the subject would have been more implied. That is the only suggestion that I would like to make.
Okay, fine. The perspective, everybody will have a different perspective. Thank you for sharing your different perspective, sure. I'm sure Silva, you can work on these beautiful work. I'm sure you can work on the different perspective, like turning the person, asking them to connect with them or different angle. I'm sure you can work on them. Okay, and thank you for sharing this image, Chettipunyam. I think it is nearby Chengalpet, I believe it is on the way to Maraimalai Nagar, correct? No.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I'm going to next image here. Oh, nice. Wow. This one is very interesting.
Harsh lights, very harsh lights. The lights are very harsh, and the kind of white balance settings, the exposure is needs to be worked on this picture, and moreover the focus is also missing. I don't know what the photographer is trying to focus on this image. The focus is also slightly defocused. The, needs to work on the focus as well as the exposure value.
May I know more details about the picture? Can you please tell me where did you shoot?
Lighthouse.
At what time you have shot it? Like morning time, probably.
So this was shot in Marina, and it was shot around like 4:30 in the evening.
Okay,
So there were so many. There's so many, kids and adults playing over there. So I really like to establish the beach. It has different stories, and it's one of the stories. Where the people from the housing board come and play during the evenings. Yeah, I want to establish this case, and you can identify Marina with the lighthouse. And also this image, I named it as Manal Parakkum Aatam.
You've shot this image. You have shot the image from the. You shot this image from the ground level.
Yes, ma'am. I shot this image from the ground level.
Okay. So I feel my point is very simple, sir. You could have moved to different position to cover the activities. You want to highlight the activity. The more point is you want to keep the subject like influence of the more activities and all that. In that case, you have to find out different perspective because this perspective gives different idea because I feel you are covering some lighthouse, you are covering the backdrop, like in the people are playing on the foreground. So it creates a lot of ideas to me. I mean, there are too many messages in this film. So I feel you have to change the perspective or you have to change the view of the picture to give the idea what exactly it is conveying. That is my opinion. But apart from that, if you are seeing the beautiful work, it's like very beautiful, very nice one, that is a different part. But such a work on what exactly need to convey, that is very important. For example, this image is very neat, very clean, very neat. But when compared to that, it does not give the clear and neat information. That is my point. I'm sure you can work on the point, what exactly information that need to be conveyed. It is very important part. So when you want to convey something, it is very important to focus on perspective, angle, and the position where that you have shot it. Like either you have could have moved a little bit closer to the subject and shot it. That is my opinion. Maybe you can use different lens to cover the people, or you could move to different position to cover the place and it gets better information. That is my chance. But I respect your perspective. I appreciate your effort that you have put it forth. But if you want to give better images, I feel you need to work on different perspective. That's it. Any other? I'm sure you can work on these images for better images too. Thank you, Silva.
Thank you.
I appreciate your effort, and I feel the best one is Silva. It is the best of all three images. Thank you, Silva.
Thank you.
Like very.
I like the name that you named the last one, the story. Can you repeat the name again?
I named it as Manal Parakkum Aatam.
Very good. I like this. I like the title that you.
Okay.
Picture that your title.
Okay. So I think this is very. I like the concept of using backdrop, saturation, desaturation, and all that. Fantastic effort, Silva. I mean, this is the best of all your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm going to next one. Srinivasan. 1 second. Hi, Srinivasan. Good evening. Srinivasan is here.
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, it's okay, fine. Wow. I'm sharing the image. I think people can see the photograph. Can you see the photograph here? Okay. I want to know about more image about this one. Can you please tell me where did you shoot and how did you shoot? I'm very much looking forward to listen you. Tell me.
Okay, I recently went to Kodaikanal. So this was shot from my room So I took my tripod, and so this was around 6:30 p.m. So I wanted that cloud to move and look more like a painting. So I also wanted an Ansel Adams photography look. So I wanted only the black and the white to be visible. So I made it in that way.
It's a wonderful capture of that you have taken a decision to shoot this in monochrome. See, to really capture a standout black and white photography landscape shots, the photographer needs to see in shades of gray, which you have seen in this image. And imagine how the photo will look in monochrome. That's the key, because the fancy black and white editing tricks won't get you there. But if the shot, if this shot is, right in the place, you have taken out, you have scripted this art of black and white photography beautifully in form of a landscape.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, I might think the shot is more like a very dramatic one. I really like that one because maybe I feel something is missing here, but I like the concept of like very moving sky and dreamy look. That is very nice. So I think you can reduce a little bit of black grade etching in the background. That could have been reduced a little bit. I feel a little bit over processed, but apart from that, I like the composition, the placement of tripod, and everything is so good here. But it will not work when you submit the competition, because when you attend the competition, like lot of travel competition, they do conduct a landscape photo contest and all that. So when you submit these kind of images for a landscape contest, they will not accept this one, because of they may consider it with over processed or something. So I think you can reduce a little bit of processing and submit the contest. That is my suggestion. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Sri.
Yeah. And I have one more suggestion here. Try a different crop ratio again. I think why I'm recommending crop ratio is very, very important one. I feel that the crop ratio will play a huge important role in taking very good picture. The better crop ratio, the better image you will get it. That is my suggestion. I think this one is so good here. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing this image here. And I'm going to next image here. How nice. Can you please tell me what you think about it, Vasanthi ma'am?
This is a beautiful village story that he has narrated with two boys. There is a cow that is being shearing, and the two boys were sitting under the tree sharing their stories. It's a kind of a village depicting the village story in terms of beautiful golden hour. Is it being shot in the morning time?
This was shot around 5:30 in the evening.
Evening time? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's what is the is it I'm sure that you have set in the manual mode and you have tried little bit of editing to give that warmth color on separating the layers.
Yes. So actually, this was in Kodaikanal. There is a village called Kukal. So I wanted to take the village feel. So these boys were sitting there and they were playing, and there was one cow, and the broken house was there. So I could see only three colors, two colors out of it. One is orange. Even the cow color is also orangish, and even the house hood also is in orange. So I just wanted to take all these layers and bind it in a one single pic. So that's how I took it.
What ratio did we use it for this?
I actually cropped it to 16.
16:9.
Yeah.
What was your original shot crop ratio?
3:2.
3:2. Okay. Always when you try to narrate a story with so many layers, it's better to go for 16:9 landscape, where your trying to narrate a story. Don't try to crop, as as she said in earlier image, that it may lose a lot of details in the sharpness. But otherwise, it's a beautiful village story depicting the value of children, value of the friendship in a very beautiful way.
Yeah, I actually didn't have long lens, so I had no other choice to take the entire scene and then go.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
the only reason.
Okay. But still, you managed to shot it beautifully with the kind of lens that you had.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one more suggestion, sir. So when you go for this kind of job, I always recommend to include a full chapter or do not include anything here. So I feel the house is not fully included in the picture. So I feel you can crop it. Maybe you can crop it a bit more like maybe you can crop it a bit, removing the element. That is my suggestion. Maybe that gives better perspective. You can actually go for aspect ratio 4 by 3. That gives better perspective. You can include this with something. I'm sure you can are you able to see that. I'm just putting the crop here. So that gives different look, because what I'm telling you is you have to include the house fully or do not include it. That
Or
is
little
my
bit of
suggestion.
fun, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is the way to take it forward. I'm sure now it looks much better than previous one, because you want to narrate the story of these two children playing here. When you want to convey something about the nature, you have to ensure the highlight the image, because when you crop those images, people actually the subject in the image will look little bit more prominent. That is my suggestion. So removing unwanted element from the frame will make the structure better, and our eyes look into the children playing here. That is my suggestion. Now I'm sure the cropping will give different perspective to highlight the importance of structure.
Yes, absolutely. When you cropped it, I could see how beautiful it is. It is actually taking my thought process. I like the crop you put in. Thanks for the suggestion.
Okay, fine. Sure. I'm sure you can work on that for other landscape too. Cropping is just about like sometimes it will work, sometimes it will not work. So I think it depends on the image. You can decide it. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to next image here. Wow, this one is very nice. What do you
This
think?
again is a shot of a monochrome. See, viewing a color scene and imagining it as a black and white photograph is a very difficult task to master, and one that only comes with a real practice. But you can grasp the black and white vision a bit earlier. You have done it with the camera style of monochrome, which will allow you to view the photos on the LCD screen before you shot. As Nikon calls this is a picture control, and Canon refers it to a picture style. If you have an electronic kind of a viewfinder, you can view the scene in black and white, and you can shoot the setting styles in your camera, as you shoot by setting the styles in your camera. This is you have shot this beautifully, but you have decided to go for a monochrome. You made it as a color and then decided to go for a monochrome and edited as a monochrome. Which one we have done? How have you done this?
Actually, this was shot in around 12 or 1 noon. So it was very hazy, and when I find it in my viewfinder, I couldn't say anything. It was all white. So I wanted to depict in a way that to reduce the haze, I wanted to bring some element and bind it along with the nature. So that is the reason I took the tree branch and covered it a little bit of it, and in center of the two branch, right? So I kept it as an eye. So that's where the the harsh light coming up from. So I wanted to depict in a way that the nature is binding itself for to that, so that the harsh light coming out from that little bit of tiny space which I kept it in between the two branches.
So this was a
that's
shot for this image was shot for the monochrome shots. You have already taken into color. You are not satisfied with it, and then you went for a monochrome shot. Am I right?
No, actually, in my camera, if I turn it on into black and white, it is very tricky because I use Fuji, and sometimes I might forget where the setting is. So usually when I viewed it in the viewfinder itself, I wanted to take it as a monochrome because it was very hazy. So there was no colors for me to capture it. So that is the reason when I took the shot, I thought it in a way it should be in a black and white. So I sensed it as a black and white picture, and then I took it, and then I
So
just
you've decided to go for a monochrome shot, correct?
Yes,
because
yes.
that needs a lot of practice. That's what I was telling. Viewing a color scene and imagining it as a black and white photograph is a difficult task to master, and one that always comes only with the practice. That is the reason I asked you this way.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So I feel this is okay. This is very good perspective. I feel this perspective is different. Maybe like I like the concept of adding a branch and one chicken. I mean the branches is here on the mountains and including the two different subject in the frame. It's okay, it's fun. And I feel maybe the highlight could have been reduced in that especially this part. I feel our height always in the backdrop. The highlight could have been reduced because the white portion is a little bit more dominant in the picture. I'm not able to recognize the subject like mountains and the branches. They are predominantly very important here. I'm not able to recognize it because of highlight. Too much of brightness in the backdrop. You can reduce 2 or 3 points of highlight in the backdrop that will make those branches and mountains will look better. That is my suggestion. It can be black and white or it can be colored, but that's my suggestion. Okay, you can reduce the brightness of the this portion using brush tool or some selected tool in Photoshop or Lightroom. Okay.
Yeah, sure, Shri. Thank you.
Okay, and I appreciate. I feel this one. This one is better. I mean, I felt this one is the best of all your collection. I'm sure you have a beautiful landscape collection. I like the black and white. Just a simple suggestion. My suggestion: reduce the over processing, limit the process, and explore. Please edit the image without crossing the boundary. Instead of crossing, please understand the purpose and edit. That is my suggestion. Apart from this, you are making wonderful progress in landscape. Thank you so much for sharing those beautiful work. Srinivasan, I appreciate your effort for sharing this one. This is the best of all your work. Okay? No.
Thank you, Shri. Thank you, ma'am.
And I'm going to share with the next images here. The third last one. You're going to last question. I think last person is Harun. Dr. Harun.
Hello, sir. Fine, sir.
Jagdish.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Hello. Arul. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how are you doing?
Yeah, fine, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Please explain, when did you shoot? Where did you shoot?
This one taken at Bangkok, sir. Bangkok at Mahana Kon. It's a building of 77 floor.
Taken by mobile?
No, ma'am. It's a camera, Canon 60D.
What are the settings that you chose?
ISO 200, f 4.5, and exposure is 4 seconds.
4 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. You use a tripod?
No, ma'am. With it with hand. Without hand. Yeah, it is not allowed, ma'am. Tripod is not allowed for roof.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just used the handheld on top. Fantastic, good effort. I could see that everything detail is very clear and crisp. I appreciate your effort for holding camera very steady without any shake in that. Every detail in the image is so crisp. How did you manage it?
There is a pipe on the floor, so I hold that pipe and took the shot.
This is very nice. What is the aperture that you used on this? The f
4.5, ma'am. 4.5.
Okay.
4.5.
Yes, ma'am.
I think lighting, if you use lighting, you can reduce exposure 1 or 2 points by using gradient tool. Try using gradient tool to keep the to keep the level exposure properly. That is my suggestion.
Okay, sir. Sure,
Apart
What is the ISO value, Arun?
ISO is 200, ma'am.
200?
200.
Maybe you can reduce to 100. It will be better.
Okay.
To
Yes,
give the more of lights of this is to reduce noise basically.
Okay.
Because ISO 100, I mean, slightly would have reduced on noise. See, noise is an image that creates the kind of a specky look with colors on the background. To get the clean, crisp, and colorful night photograph, you will need as little noise as possible.
Okay,
that is my suggestion. You know,
Sure,
there's
ma'am,
what is the auto? What is the white balance that you have set in this?
auto white balance, ma'am.
Okay.
Auto white balance.
Auto.
Yes, ma'am.
Auto is the best. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am. Auto.
So, see, night photography usually has lots of different light sources. You know, with a lot of different colors. Shooting in auto white balance gives you a good middle ground, which can be adjusted if necessary as needed back in post processing.
Okay.
So programs like Lightroom. Another option is to set the camera white balance to daylight. This will capture colors. This will capture colors as they are. But I find photos come out in orange when doing it this way.
Okay, ma'am. Sure.
That's why I asked you what white balance setting that you have used.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to next image here. Can you tell me where did you shoot?
This one taken at Andaman, sir. It is a Ross Island. So I have taken from Port Blair to this island.
Port Blair, okay.
Yeah. From a jetty, from a harbor, I have taken this.
East Andaman. East Andaman?
No, ma'am.
From a harbor. It's in a moving harbor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a East Andaman. Sorry, South Andamans.
Yes, ma'am. It's in Port Blair. Port Blair, this island is a Ross Island. Ross Island.
No, from Port Blair, you have been traveling to South Andaman.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In South.
Yeah, because from Port Blair only you take this kind of a ship to travel.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think the noise is visible here in this image. I could see a lot of noise in that picture. Maybe you can reduce the noise.
Okay, sir.
Lightroom.
Okay.
Suggestion.
Okay.
One suggestion is I feel you can actually work on Lightroom to reduce noise. I like the sky pattern, everything so like very prominent in this picture. Fantastic effort. Thank you for sharing this one. And I think you can try it out during sunrise, sunset in different timing. That may look a little bit better one.
Okay.
See, you're shot this in a midday sun.
Yes, ma'am. It's a
while
midday.
shooting in a midday sun. Yeah. See, while shooting the midday sun may not always be ideal. Sometimes we don't have really a choice, but we can't always find ourselves on location during the morning or late afternoon golden hours. But in being able to work with the midday sun can help you to also with amazing shots that you would have otherwise missed out on. But contrast is a little more higher in kinds of editing where the water is on a deeper blue in color.
Okay.
The contrast can be reduced.
Okay.
But because of high contrast, because of sunlight, because of daytime, because of harsh light, I feel contrast might not work. It will not be suitable all the time. But still, you can try it out that too. But make sure noise should not be there in the image. It's very important. Reduce the noise.
Okay, sir. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Apart from this, this is very nice job.
Thank you.
Okay, to the Cambodia.
Yes, sir. This one is Cambodia.
It's a beautiful composition.
Thank you.
I mean, what focal length did you use for this image?
It is 17 mm, 17 mm focal length. Length is 10 to 18.
10 to 18.
Yeah, Canon.
Okay. Composition is very good. The aperture of the lens is one setting that kind of, if you have created a kind of a background blur. I mean, but different lenses have a different aperture settings available. Ideally, for a blurred background, you should use a lens that at least have 2.8 aperture that's available. If you could, I mean, if the focal length is different. If the focal length has been different for this particular image, it would have created some kind of a drama, a background blur or whatever, and where it creates a kind of a moody kind of thing makes more dramatic. As such, it is a good composition, and with the limited amount of available lens that you have shot this.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
No, good one. I'm sure you can work on something about this landscape. Landscape is all about not vertical but horizontal. It's all like having different timing. Lighting, it should be chopped and it should have a lot of colors, involvement of colors and involvement of elements in the frame is very important one. So I think this kind of shot does not exactly reflect landscape because there is a lot of human-made elements in that picture.
Okay.
So this will not be part of landscape photography. It is more like a architecture one because architecture is something about man-made human element. That is my whole point. So I think it's very important to man-made and natural one. So the more natural elements will make the image more a landscape photography. That is my thought. Okay.
Okay, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes, the connection is there.
So please understand the classification between landscape and everything. This is the best one.
Okay, okay.
Hello.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir, I can hear.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now I can hear.
Can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Okay.
Voice is breaking, sir.
Good evening. Right, thank you so much for joining today's webinar for about third review session. I think we went to 2 hours instead of 1 hour. I know it is. I feel like okay, we had a lot of discussion with many people today. Thank you everyone for participating today's review session. I would like to thank you, Vasanthi ma'am, for joining today's review session too, and thanks to all participants for making this review wonderful show. And do you have any? I'm sure we will come up with more review session in upcoming weeks. I think you're about to close the review session. I think your image will be reviewed on next event. Can we do that? We will be reviewing your work on next event because we are actually about to bound about the time. I think could have joined at the beginning. So I felt your image will be reviewed on next event for sure. I'm very much looking forward. So I'm thinking to include our work on next event. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar.
You all look what is working and what could be improved, and regardless of whose image is being reviewed, the entire person who submitted the image benefits by the kind of this reviewing the images. That's the whole of reviewing, a concept of reviewing an images. The Madras photo bloggers. Thank you all for registering for this wonderful review session.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure I'm looking forward to see your next event. Thank you so much for joining here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye to everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Shri.
Yeah, sure. Please ask me a doubt here. Somebody wants to ask me a doubt. Please ask me. Silva has a doubt.
Sir, I wanted to ask Vasanthi ma'am, so little tips on wildlife.
You have any doubt?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask Vasanthi ma'am, sir, in tips on wildlife.
Yeah, please ask.
Tell me.
Ma'am, so I've been shooting portraits and streets for a while. So there's for me to try a lot of genres.
Okay.
I have so much of interest in wildlife.
Sure.
So,
you're interested in going for a wildlife. Okay. Have you been to any forest
just to
or
know
wildlife?
how it is, how it is. Just try all genres, cover all genres. Give a try to
out
all.
Of interest, you want to try wildlife photography, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
see, wildlife photography. What is the question that you wanted to ask me? Go ahead.
As a beginner, what should I do?
As a beginner, I would suggest not to go spend a lot of money with so much of gear or whatever. You can try out the wildlife photography in your backyard. Seriously, go to the nearest park, zoo or something. You can go to Vandalur Zoo, try to shoot the animals, or for a lake or area where you shoot your birds. Try to get the concept of wildlife photography in the way that you would like to depict your images. There is the main thing in wildlife photography is try to connect with the subject. It is not the it's not a portrait photography where you get onto the eye to eye level. It is bird's eye level. It is at animal's eye level. That is the key of the wildlife photography. The point of focus is basically try to travel a lot to nearest zoo or whatever, whichever place your you're stationed or whatever. Slowly take up from that point, try to take birds on flight. That is the next step. Then try to extend your knowledge of wildlife photography by traveling a bit more within the kind of the state that you have. Suppose we are in Chennai, try to travel within Tamil Nadu. You can go to Kunnur, you can go to Ooty, you can go for a birds places, or in Kerala, it's a beautiful Tattakad forest. You need any guidance to reach out that place or for any bookings or something, you contact me, I will give you the details. You can go there and shoot beautiful birds images where you will be shooting that from the hide and the birds will be in the open place. You will be in the hide with your camera. So that is a way to improve your levels of wildlife photography, where you master the birds behavior, birds habitats, so you shoot so you don't miss that golden moment of wildlife photography.
So, ma'am, also I have one more question.
Yeah.
About the photography part, thank you on that.
You can be little louder.
Okay, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks. On photography note, thanks on those points. Also,
Okay.
I wanted to know about the pre-processing. So, how you pre-process the image and what kind of softwares you use? How it differs for wildlife?
Wildlife, see, for wildlife photography, you should really not go for much of processing, basically, because even for the contest or even for where you have this, your entries are selected. I mean, when you choose this, when you apply for the contest or whatever, they never look at the processed image like a portraiture or for a landscape. They only wanted a raw image where the details of the wild animals is so clear and crisp, with a kind of a brightness and contrast and focus, and where it carries a lot of story. Anything with the eye level is the best for a wildlife photography. Suppose if a tiger, if you enter into a forest and you're seeing a tiger walking in front of you, you will have to lower. I know you will be over the jeep. You will not be able to focus under the ground level, but then you will have to have the kind of a eye-hand camera where you can shift your LCD screen, lower your camera LCD screen, view it in a live view settings, and then click for an eye level shot. The eye level shot in wildlife photography carries a lot of weightage, and processing should be very minimal in wildlife photography. And if at all you wanted to go for a processing, Lightroom is just enough. You don't need to really a Photoshop or whatever. Lightroom is perfectly fine to do those kind of a light adjustments in terms of sharpness and contrast and brightness. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Vasanthi, for providing your input, and I appreciate your time here. I hope we can have a similar session in upcoming future. I'm very much looking forward.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.